Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Live from the Knitting Wars, I'm Deplorable Knitter. We've got Ann Pinkova. Hi, Ann. And we've got our fabulous Neil from United Kingdom and Black Magazine. And
Hello.
There's Tina doing Tina things over there in the corner from A Winnet Yarn and Fiber. And so, what's happening? What's happening today, peeps?
Well, it's a full moon, isn't it? So I think everyone's a little bit out of sync, aren't they? Is it a full moon? I think
I don't know, but it's been bad lately.
It was a full moon, I think, like 2 days ago. It was gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Mind-blowing.
That's cool. Yeah. I know that Mercury was in the microwave a little bit ago, and I could tell everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Around the edges.
Oh, that's got to be a colorway.
What?
Mercury in the microwave. Is that retrograde by any chance?
No, it was in the microwave, I'm sure. Because let me tell you, like, everything in the world was going on. So there's no other excuse. And I don't believe in that, but this time I was not having it.
Oh, what star signs are you all then? Let's do the star sign thing.
I'm a Cancer, of course.
I don't know what that means.
It means I'm allegedly, and so I did
allegedly.
Well, I mean, I am pretty emotional and sensitive and intuitive and all that crap, but I did the birth chart thing a while ago, and I don't know my exact time of birth, so that was a little hard. I know it was early morning, so I was just like, okay, 6 a.m., whatever. But so I'm Cancer with like Cancer rising and like moon something or other, so I'm like straight up freaking moonchild here.
Maybe that explains your nocturnal behaviors. I don't know.
Oh,
so you're a crab.
Yeah.
Murder Knit says horoscopes are of the devil. I was raised to believe that. I just think they're funny now.
Yeah, isn't it mentioned in the Bible?
I don't
Astrology, know. I'm sure it's, or is that just a modern interpretation
of it? It's mentioned to a certain amount that, well, as is today, as has forever been, that, you know, the witchy types and the astrologists all get together. So
interesting. I'm a Taurus, so
so
I don't know what that means.
I used to be really into all this when I was a teenager, so I can tell you all the nonsense about it, but now I don't believe it at all. I mean, I'd be a complete hypocrite, wouldn't I, if I believed in astrology but didn't believe in God or anything else, you know.
It happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah.
Yeah, true, probably. So go on, Anne, what are you?
Me? Gemini, I think.
You are. You're the same as my oldest.
So we've got Taurus, which is an earth sign. We've got Gemini, which is an air sign. Cancer, which is a water sign. And I'm a Scorpio, which is a water sign.
So man, I thought we were going to be the Avatar.
We need a fire. Quick, let's get a fire sign on.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to... I don't even know what any of that means. I like to read my horoscopes sometimes just because I find it amusing. And then, like, if it fits for the day, like, it's like, oh, today's going to, you know, go off the rails. I'll be like, yes, my horoscope said it was true.
Oh, we definitely need Tabitha to join us because she's a Leo, which is a fire sign.
And
then we'd have a bit of a balance.
And we can complete the thing.
Yeah. Well, then we've got one too many water signs, so either Tina or I would have to be booted off.
You want to fight?
There can be only one.
So what it's all supposed to mean, the nonsense, is that Tina and I are supposed to get on very well because we're both water signs. So we're both apparently very emotional, which I don't think I've had an emotion since 1974. So I'm not quite sure where that fits in. Taurus, so DK is an earth sign. So you're the most sensible of us all. Which is that?
I try.
Yeah.
I married a sensible guy, so that helps me be that way.
And I'm sorry, I completely forgot your name for a second. Then my mind just went. Anne's an air sign, so they're supposed to be very flighty and can't pin them down and love to talk nonstop.
Well, there's a little bit of that in Anne. That's funny.
Oh, my boyfriend says hi, Tina babe. So hi, Thad babe.
Yeah, high tech, babe.
Oh, where'd her nets?
What's she put?
Oh, Neil, she is after you.
Whoa! That's savage.
Familiarity breeds contempt. We've obviously spoken too much, Tabitha and I.
Too much.
Man.
Yeah, you might be right.
One. That was a slaughter.
Oh my gosh, people.
Anyway, why is Tabitha in the comments and not on with us? What's going on?
That is true. Tabitha, you have a link. Come on.
You can sit in front of your computer. You can do it.
Say that to my face.
It's got to do with her kid, doesn't it?
Probably.
She's got that kid who likes to be involved in stuff.
Oh, let him play on the railway. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Whatever. I'm deep cleaning myself and Waylon's with me. Okay. Sounds like a personal issue, so you enjoy that.
No,
I hope that's not like Biden and his daughter. That sounds very suspect.
Best typo ever.
Oh my gosh. She said house cleaning.
Okay.
Calling it these days?
Somebody phone the police.
No, never. She's just yeah.
Yeah, well, Tabitha, I think you got your comeuppance pretty fast. So
yeah, turn that around. Yeah, no, Katie, everybody's gonna break me today because I've had this cold that won't go away. So anytime I laugh, I literally die because I start coughing and I have to mute myself because yeah, it's been very pretty here.
I think I might have caught your cold because I'm feeling a bit. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm feeling a bit, bunged up as we.
My husband has it so bad, and it was real quiet in the house this morning. The kids were still in their room, and I was coughing, and he was out in the other room coughing, and then I heard one of the kids in their room coughing, and I'm like, "We're disgusting." That's how we were, and then I brought Ann in. So, haha.
Well, actually, I haven't been too bad. I'm just generally exhausted. I mean, so saw you last weekend, and then this weekend, it was like epic Pennsylvania book tour. We must have gone to 20 different small bookstores because a friend of mine, had a little plug for her. So she's starting this book website where she wants to do like independent authors with editors, with small press or independent printing, and get everyone all connected. And then she wants it connected to small bookstores too. So as a new author, you can get connected with all that. Anyway, so we're in the market research phase. So if any of y'all want to go to scrollmate.com and fill out the little market survey, much appreciated. But so we were going around and we're going to all these bookstores and of every breed and variety and talking to the owners, and a lot of them were like, yeah, whatever. A couple of them, we got some really, really cool information. But yeah, so it's been a long weekend. And we also went to Philadelphia, did not get stabbed. A+. So
yes.
Yeah, so we did. We walked into this cheesesteak store, and there was a policeman there, and one of the employees were giving a description. So I'm like, oh no, we ended up eating somewhere else. So
you should have stayed there. The cop was there.
Well, the cop was there, yeah, but the
cops are pretty handy.
They're super handy. Just A+ for having cops around. But the other employee had this like gravelly, like cartoon lunch lady voice, like walking like, hi. So we're gonna walk a few steps down to the other cheesesteak place. But yeah, we saw the Liberty Bell, and we went to Independence Hall, and we the other one close by where they had the Supreme Court for like the first 10 years. So that was super cool. Saw George Washington's chair. Neat. So we walked around, and
is the Liberty Bell the one that's got the crack in it?
Yes. As seen by Gandhi. So there's a little museum to go. There's this huge picture of Gandhi with the Liberty Bell. Like, kind of think.
The only reason I know is because there's a superhero, so Anne will like this. There's a superhero supposedly from the 1940s called Liberty Bell. And her superpower was whenever they rung the bell, she would get a rush of adrenaline. So she had to wait for them to ring the bell before she could do anything. So obviously her powers were limited, so she didn't last very long.
That's
You're
interesting.
gonna say like American made, like from the tick. But anyways. But yeah.
Can I just show off real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to show off my pretty little Walmart iced coffee mug. I'm so proud of this stupid thing.
It's all filled with iced coffee.
I forgot. Walmart is a novel thing for you.
Yes, it is. And I know a lot of people hate it, and I totally understand why they hate it. But man, I just whenever my boyfriend and I go to visit his mom, there's a Walmart like 5 minutes down the road, and he'll be like, "I want to go on a Walmart date," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to go on a Walmart date."
It's so funny because we have one nearby, but when my kids were real small, that would be like a date for me and my husband. We'd get his mom over, stay with the kids, and then we would like go pick up something for dinner, like fast food, and then we would go to Walmart and get all the things we needed because it was just hard when our kids were real small, and then you're in a store and people, and it's too people-y in Walmart usually. Too many of them.
Yeah.
So
and weird people too. Like you're looking at some of these people and you're like, are you from out of this world? Are you a trash heap mutant? Are you seriously inbred? Like, what is it about Walmart? It's like Walmart is like the public bus of stores. It's like, for some reason I've noticed here in the city, like the subways are bad, but the buses are like 1,000 times worse. Like you get just all sorts of crazy, super crazy people on the buses. Like, some lady will be looking at you out of the corner of her eye and she's like, "Take one eye off of me." And you're like, "What?" I'm just sitting here. Like, yeah. But yeah, Walmart it's truly an interesting place. I mean, for watching people, if you're not used to that sort of environment, and plus like freaking cheap ass skull glasses. I mean, and really fun pants. Like I picked up a pair of these super hippy dippy looking flare leg stretchy things for like $10, and they're so soft and comfy, and it's an experience every time. I love Walmart.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I've never heard anybody get that excited about Walmart, so that's interesting.
I feel like I'm missing out because I've obviously never been to a Walmart.
Well, someday when we come and break up the Stitches gatherings, we'll take you to one afterwards as a celebratory.
I can't wait.
Wait, are we gonna bust up a Stitches gathering?
No, but they think we're gonna.
I've just got to move my microphone because I think I've got it wrapped around my earpiece, so I think I'm making a weird noise. Can you hear that?
No,
a little bit.
Yeah, so hang on, I'll just do it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The mental gymnastics these people have to go through to justify something like that. Like Bitchy Knitter saying that, well, it's a group of people with a common interest. I'm sorry, race is not a common interest unless you're a freaking racist. Am I right? Like,
well, Bitchy Knitter made a big thing about us making a thing about it, and she said, no, it's not like segregation because segregation would be if black people and white people weren't allowed in the same place. And it's like, well, Rosa Parks rode the same bloody bus as white people, so it was about segregation within an event or a space,
and different drinking fountains, different spots in the restaurant. Like, it's okay if they're both allowed in, but like, so she's totally in favor of separate but equal, is what she's saying. Which,
see, my view on it is if with the LGBT people, the only difference with lesbian, gay, and bisexual is about sex. So if you are going to try and meet people, to date people, then I think, okay, that's fair enough because, you want to be able to date people, without offending people or whatever. But to go and buy wool, it's like, why do you need to have your own little group? Like you wouldn't go to the supermarket an LGBTQ supermarket trip, would you? Or a black, what is it, BIPOC, or what's that new one again? I forgot what it is. Blimp.
Black Indigenous people of color.
Yeah, yeah. There's the other one. What's the other one called?
No, it's black, brown, indigenous,
melanated.
There's
people.
another one.
Yeah. BIMP. BBIMP.
Yeah. So all those things mean are white excluding white people or excluding straight people, isn't it? That's all they mean.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
I don't.
Tina says yes, they do. It's called Trader Joe's.
Oh, what happens in Trader Joe's? Sorry, I don't understand that.
No, that's where all the hippies go.
Yeah, it's like a grocery store chain, but like a little different. They're really popular. They have really good deals on good food and stuff, and I never go to them if I can help it because they're just super freaking crowded and my anxiety spikes and I'm like, get the fuck out of my way! I can't with these freaking people. But yeah, I guess they're kind of like a lower priced Whole Foods, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound?
They're based off of Aldi. They're based off of one of the Aldis.
Dude, we don't have one of those here either, and it's a total bummer.
Oh.
Mm. Yeah, we have something like it though. It's called Western Beef, but I think that's just food though. I don't think because Aldi sells yarn, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, they have a special buys aisle here, so sometimes you can get toys or household things or whatever, but it's not like you can go there like you can go to Joann's or Walmart or somewhere else where they always have yarn. So
gotcha.
It kind of depends.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of yarn, I have an order from Hobby coming soon that I'm very excited about.
I hope you're going to hide it from your boyfriend.
Oh yes, I forgot to ask his permission. Sorry, babe. Did you just out me on camera? Oh wait, no, I outed myself. Never mind.
Oh, you did. Bummer.
Anyway, I got their.
Panicked then for a minute. I thought, what did I do then?
I got their Halloween colorways because I just love the Halloween colorways. They have I guess every year they do like I think there's 4 of them. So I got I think 3 different colors in sock yarn and one of them is sparkly. So I'm like, super excited about that.
That'd be nice. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the I can't believe the people that went after that whole ad for the patriarchy or whatever. Like, do you not have a life? Is it really like that big of a freaking deal for you? It's like that's so important that you have to nag and post. I mean, it's not like it's literally it's over a meme. It's not like the company has bad service or something or their product is subpar and like you got gypped like Lady Di or something, but like
allegedly.
So I'm sorry, but what company did who? What?
Oh, Hobby Yarn, HOBBI.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I wasn't on the same page for a minute. I'm back. When they had the thing about hiding yarn. Yes, got it. Wow, that whole conversation was over my head. I'm sorry, people.
Well,
what cold medicine
did
does
bully
to you.
them. They bullied them into removing it, didn't they? They did remove the ad, which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They probably just got tired of being needled. And they were like, it's not freaking worth it. Just
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Oh, well. So you're getting a thing from Hobby. I put in an order with a new yarn dyer from Canada. They're called Ravelutions Yarn.
Oh, never heard of them.
She seems really nice, and I don't know, they had a one-of-a-kind colorway that I just couldn't I had to have, so I bought it. But I will show it off when I get that. That's exciting. I'm not supposed to be ordering more yarn, but that's okay. I will hide it from my husband.
Oh, Nancy says that the making app is a piece of crap. What's this making app?
Yes, I joined Making Co, I think it's called. So it's an app on your phone, And the reason I joined is because there's a big interview with my friend Adela.
Oh, your best friend. Yeah. That really nice lady.
Yeah, I can't miss what she has to say, you know, in case I want to support her and everything. And it was it's just a bit crap. It's sort of, I don't really know what the point of it is. It's kind of like I don't know, a place where you chat to people who knit and make things, you know what I mean? It's sort of, there's nothing, it doesn't seem to be very new, you know. I can't see what the new bit is apart from, I think they do courses. But when they were setting it up, she did an interview with Adela on her live, I think, or was it? No, it was Fatima, I think it was. I can't remember anyway, one of them. And they bullied the makers of Making to create a black only area on the app so that they could be safe.
I'm sorry.
What? Segregation.
Yeah, it's like, you know, because it's a bit like us now saying that we're unsafe if a certain person joins us. You know, like we're all in our own sodding homes. You know what I mean? In our own part of the world.
If you think, if you feel threatened by white people, I think you're pretty fucking racist. I mean, not I think you are. You are objectively racist. If white people
that's kind of the definition
just by existing, yeah, you're pretty fucking racist. And get your head out of your butt. I mean,
I like how you didn't say ass, but you kept saying the F word. I like that a lot.
You gotta select your sentence as it goes. You gotta.
I have certain language rules that I abide by, and I can't define them and I can't articulate them, but there's rules.
Yeah. Nancy wants us to get this Brit out of here. You're making her unsafe.
Oh god. Wait, so I need a little clarification on something though. Somehow, I mean, I still had COVID brain when the whole 6-month yarn thing was going on. So wait, what's the point of waiting 6 months to ship the yarn? Like what's this whole thing about? I mean, well, besides trying to scam people.
Right. You can't get a refund after 6 months if that's what they do. But I don't know why.
What was her justification though for saying
well, what happened last year? So she, around August, September, I think, I might have the dates wrong. She advertised her Nightmare Before Christmas yarn. Now, the thing about that is that she did it in September, I think it was. So some people were confused, thinking it was a Halloween colour, which is completely understandable. But no, it wasn't. So when somebody said, "Where's my yarn?" in the 3-week turnaround you promised, or the 4-week turnaround, yeah, she needed money.
Yeah, that's the answer. She needs money.
And then it turned into a Christmas colorway, which it probably was originally, to be fair to her. But then that Christmas colorway didn't actually get sent out to people until February. So what I think she's doing this year, she's preempting exactly the same thing again. But instead of saying you'll get it for Christmas, she's hedging her bets and saying you'll get it for February. But she's also hoping people will forget they've ordered. Because she keeps saying, you'll forget you've ordered and then you'll get a nice surprise. But if you've forgotten you've ordered, and you don't get a nice surprise, you'll forget that you've paid your money. But
people are dumb enough to do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's 5 months, and the cutoff for your credit card refunds is 3 months, I think. So you haven't got a leg to stand on if you try and get your money back if you don't get what you've ordered. But she's already making noises about things going horribly wrong. So today they've closed their shop down until November. There is a reason, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. But she's had a HVAC, a HVAC. Is that I don't know what that is. So that's broken down.
Her air conditioner.
So she couldn't die because of that. Then she had a tiny bump in her car. And I mean, a tiny bump, because I read the explanation of it. Somebody just bumped into the back of her car. And that obviously meant she couldn't die yarn. And then her daughter had a very routine... I think she had her ears drained or something, so she had to have anaesthetic. So that meant that she couldn't dye yarn. And so I'm expecting a big thing to happen.
Okay.
Go on, go.
The thing about the daughter and her having her ears done, I don't care if your kid is the mascot of your company. It is not up to you to post your anesthetized child on the internet for the world to see. I mean, I keep my kids out of all of it, right? But even if they were like my mascots and you knew who they were, it's still not for public consumption to do that. maybe that's a video I would send to like grandma and grandpa, like, oh, ha, ha, ha. But to show off the world, it's just making an excuse. She's publicizing her kids so that she can be like, oh, well, you guys saw the video, that she had the thing done, blah, blah, blah.
I also think she's using her daughter as a shield.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
If you criticize her company, you're criticizing her daughter in their minds, Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think people are saying they feel sorry for the daughter. I do, actually, because I think she's going to grow up kind of expecting an audience. She's going to grow up like a Kardashian. It's almost like she's what was that film years ago with where he was in a bubble and everyone could see what he was doing every 5 minutes, but he didn't know.
The Truman Show?
Truman Show, yeah. So it's not that bad, but it's kind of, there's an element of that in there, isn't there?
Yeah. But it just makes me sad because, I mean, our parents' job is to protect your kids and to do the best for them. And, publicizing her kid is not that.
Right.
I'm sure that she'll get mad at me for saying that, but that's just my thing. There's a reason nobody knows who my kids are. It's because they're kids. They don't need the whole world to be able to see them. That's not normal.
Well,
Sorry.
Did you see with the and again, I'm not criticizing, I didn't say this, so I don't know why I said again, but I'm not criticizing the daughter for what she said or did, but she actually had film of the daughter coming around after the anesthetic.
That's what I was talking about.
And it had an effect on her, didn't it? And it's like, that is there now on the internet forever.
Yes.
And she might be fine at 6, but
it doesn't matter if you delete the stuff. It is there forever. And that is, I mean, I barely even put my kids up on my private, super locked down Facebook because, yeah, they might think it's great now and think it's funny and like to have people comment and stuff. But, when they're 14, they might be like, Mom, take that down. They're not old enough to consent. Oh, it's like the trans thing. They're not old enough to consent.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Well,
say that again for those at the back.
Oh my God, right?
I actually on my nail stuff Instagram account, one of the people I had followed, I think she owns like some kind of nail shop or whatever. She had a kid, and like the day he was born, she created an Instagram for him. And I was like, wow. Yeah, so there's pictures of this kid from the day he's born on the internet, and I guess, I don't know, maybe he'll start using the account when he's old enough or something, but that's just freaking weird. You should have your private family photo albums. I mean, everything's digital these days. You have it on your phone. You can have it on your computer. Have those like digital photo frames that change every minute or whatever. You don't need to put your child on the internet like that. That's just so... And it's not healthy for their brains,
No, but like your man here says, they post kids with their names and that increases their risk of being kidnapped. I say it every year when school starts. You put up the thing with their name and their teacher and what grade they're in and what school they go to. So now somebody else knows everything about them.
Yep.
And they can go and get your kid. Oh, yeah.
What, that's published?
Not published, but like a lot of the parents do that. Like, oh, first day of school.
On their public Instagram or something.
And the kids I thought you meant the schools
did it.
No, but the kids, they have a sign and it says like, oh, my teacher's, Mr. Neal, and I'm going to be in 3rd grade. And my favorite color is, it's like ridiculous. It's like, oh, hey, here, kidnapper, have my kid, have fun.
To be fair to Adela, although we all know what school her daughter goes to because she shared that, the teacher doesn't exist, so we'd never find the classroom that she was in.
Maybe that was for a safety thing this whole time, right?
Whatever, man.
I can remember, I mean, because I feel like I'm of the age where just as I was graduating high school, that was when MySpace came out. So that was 2004. And I remember life before then, and then, so I obviously didn't grow up with MySpace. I mean, the kids I went to school with definitely had way more internet access than I did. I was allowed internet for maybe like 10 minutes a day, if that. Not even to use for, bless you. Not even to use for like school projects. Like if I had to use the internet for a school project, I had to go to the school library for that. And my aunt was like super duper strict about this. And the only thing I really did on the internet was chat with my cousins on AIM. And so I can only imagine the kids that grow up with the internet today, like from the day they're born, you know, they're 2 years old and they're flipping through iPads and doing all this stuff. And I think the internet has really changed us socially, the way we interact with people, the way we see ourselves, especially. I mean, a lot of this stuff is really damaging to kids' self-esteem, and there's so much bullying going on. And I don't think, because it's still relatively so new, it's only like the last 20 years this has been going on, I don't think the parents, even though, you know, they might be like my age or whatever, I don't think they're fully equipped or understand the consequences of all this stuff going on. And I think we're starting to see the consequences with all this crazy trans stuff going on, you know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think the issue was. I don't think it's so much the internet. I think it's photographs. So when I was growing up, you know, because I'm so old, you know, if you only had your photograph taken if you were on holiday, if you had a camera, you know, if you could afford a camera, you didn't get that moment of saying, oh no, take another one. I look awful on that one. You know, it was whatever you were doing.
You had to wait until they were developed.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you had to go, oh my God, burn it.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, you might never see them. You know, if you were on holiday with other people, they might not give you the photos. So you were never constantly looking at yourself and thinking what you look like and what other people perceived you as and so on. You know, you saw yourself in the mirror once in the morning before you went to school or to work or whatever. And I think this is the problem. So now youngsters are just staring at themselves all bloody day long, you know, and they're posting pictures of themselves all day long. And that's why they're all narcissists and why they're all worried about what gender they are and what, you know, because they're worried about a lump of fat that they might have on the hip or whatever that everybody should have. Otherwise they're dead, you know, is all of those weird self-hate things. I don't body dysmorphia stuff. That's the word. I couldn't think of it. All of that comes from the photos, I think.
Yeah, and Tabitha says, you know, the parents are just as addicted as their kids.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's part of it. I mean, I'm not as popular as a lot of these people, but I won't lie. It's a great feeling when you post something and it gets a ton of views and likes, and, you know, it does. It's great.
Yeah.
But that's not really where people should be getting their worth from, and that's what they should be teaching their kids.
Yeah, that shouldn't be your sole measure of validation. Like, it should be what you give to the world that you feel, you know, validates you, what you can contribute to the world, not what the world gives to you, you know, like not all the praise people heap on you and stuff. And, you know, and I feel like a lot of these kids are being praised for the wrong thing, you know, again, back to the trans issue, like, oh, you're so stunning and brave. Wow, you're a warrior. You're this, that, the other thing, because you got your tits chopped off at 15. Like, yeah.
Oh, I read that book. I shared a few things of it. You know, the what's it called, Genderqueer.
Oh God, that was novel. Terrible. Oh,
so I read it, 240 pages, but it is comic. You know, it's a comic, so it didn't take more than 20 minutes to read. Oh my God, some of the things in there, you know, if this was a real person, you just want to shake them and say, just stop thinking about yourself for 5 minutes, because all the way through, all this person does is themselves. No concept of how they are affecting other people at all. You know, how the people should perceive them, you know. Oh, and some of the stuff in it is absolutely not for kids, but I might just be being a prude.
No, it's absolutely not for kids. I mean,
you know what?
Posted, I mean, wow.
I was going to say, you know, it might be for older kids. It's not for, I mean, my 9-year-old loves to read graphic novels. It's not for that age group. Maybe it's for a 17-year-old. Maybe it's, but I'm sure that's not who they're marketing it to.
I don't know. I mean, and I would say too, okay, so genderqueer is definitely on the, okay, I would say, yeah, this is, if not straight up pornographic, pretty close. And also from the bits that I've seen of it, I did not sit down and read the whole book like Neil. I just saw a couple of clips of it. But it seems like it's an entire story of someone who is very obsessed about their own sexuality in a very abnormal way. Okay. And they kind of assume that this is a experience we all have. And like, it really isn't though.
No, they have a fetish. It's definitely
right. They have a specific, yeah. And I mean, you know, again, in the whole realm of books, maybe that is you and you want to read books about that. It's definitely should not be for children sort of a thing. But it's, I don't know. And okay, so this is, old school, prudish, whatever. But for years now, people have been assigning books, not necessarily in a graphic novel form, but assigned books in schools for years have had a very sexual bent, and not necessarily an LGBTQ whatever bent, though that is part of it. But a lot of them, I was talking to somebody this week talking about a high school girls book list, and there was not a book on that. It was a long list of books to choose from. There was not a book on it that did not have sexual content in some form, like at all.
Dude, I remember when I had to read stuff, I was in like honors English classes and advanced placement English. And I remember before school one year, you have like the assigned summer reading list. I had to read this book by James Michener called Centennial, which is like this fucking huge. Do you guys know this book?
Well, I know the TV series. I've seen some of it.
TV series? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was 1970s TV series.
Wow, I didn't even know the book was that old. So
or 70s, maybe 80s. I think 70s though. But anyways, yeah.
Wow. So anyway, so I was a girl who loved to read. I mean, I would get in trouble by my aunt for reading too much, like books under the covers at night, that sort of thing. Reading at restaurants, and the waiter would come and be like, "What do you want?" And I'd like not hear her, and I'd be like, "Put the book down," So there really wasn't a book that I ever met that I didn't like until Centennial. I mean, and it like halfway through the book, it started getting, a little better. But for like the first half of the book, it was just so dry and I couldn't get into it. But I knew I had to read it because it was like the book I picked off the list. And, but we were doing like Shakespeare. We were reading Shakespeare. We were reading all sorts of classic stuff, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and books like that. And there was teachers never talked about their sexuality. They never talked about, like, you barely even knew if they were married half the time. And
to be fair, there is sexuality in Shakespeare. There's a lot of sex in there, but it is so, the way it's written is so archaic that if nobody draws your attention to it, you're not necessarily going to know. That a tail means a penis, for example, or whatever.
I did have a couple of fun English teachers that would point out certain little body bits that we'd get a kick out of, and it was like, little treats here and there. I mean, obviously they're not going to go into all of it, but
they would now, though, wouldn't they? They'd
have
diagrams for you,
along with a dissertation on, well, if this character was gay, blah blah blah, and lived today. But it was like, like in retrospect, you kind of, and I my high school was close to Fire Island, which I don't know, it's like the gay capital of the world, I guess. I don't know if they've ever called it that, but I mean, that's where a lot of gay people go. And
that's
so
New York, isn't it?
Yes, it's out on Long Island. So because that's where I grew up, is out on Long Island. And so like we were just always very, like, nobody put any emphasis on people being gay. Like, you had gay friends, you kind of knew one or two of your teachers were gay, and it was just like, hey, no big freaking deal. Nobody cares, and nobody's talking about it or obsessing about it or judging anybody for it. It's like, you're gay and I'm a blonde. Cool, let's be friends. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just like another immutable characteristic. And now these days, I don't even know what it must be like out there. I mean, I hope it hasn't changed much, because I really feel like the culture there was just so, like, there's just gay people. They're whatever. They're gay. They're bi. They're, like, nobody obsesses over it. It's just always been there.
Well, now there'll be a lot of trans people there. So there'll be a lot of women who are now claiming to be men, demanding that gay men date them or have sex with them or whatever. And, lots of men that are now claiming to be lesbians,
Whatever.
It's so meta and weird.
Nah, I don't know. But I know it is also kind of I mean, back to the sort of book list issue, but with Shakespeare, it's like, okay, so, Shakespeare, has some, jokes in there or whatever. But it's also the idea of, if it's the sort of what the focus is, it's the presumption that, that you're only that you're always looking at things from a sexual angle. And it's not just that, but from a very specific, like, I don't know, that, well, as Yolanda says, everything is hypersexualized. So all your books are, the way that you look at your books are, and not just sexualized, but, it's like you're looking for if anybody is gay or whatever, because that's your first thought when you look at a character. Or that, you're, I've talked about this before, but, in a TV show where it's a presumption that, presumption of that you're going to hook up quickly, or that some abuse happened in your past or something. And that is the first thing you think of when a scenario is introduced. But just like getting that into kids' minds as well is, I don't know, that bothers me.
I feel like identity politics is the lens through which everybody's being indoctrinated to view the world through now. Like everything, like what do you identify as? Are you like, what are your pronouns and this, that, and the other thing? And that's not how it used to be. And
can we talk about neo-pronouns for a second?
Oh God,
so
how do you even talk about neo-pronouns? Like,
so do you know what they are?
They're like the made up unpronounceable ones or something, right?
Yeah,
like,
and they're all different. So one that I heard recently was frog self. Another one was God. They were God self. And I think somebody mentioned, I've not seen this one, but somebody else mentioned demon. There's a demon one, so demon self. So if I was talking about
with God self.
So I would say I like God self's hat, rather than saying her hat. So,
well, okay, at that point, then why wouldn't you just say I like Neil's hat? Right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I would do. This
would be too easy.
Right? But look at this person, a classmate of her daughter got sent to the office for calling a girl, but she thinks she's a guy. So the kid got sent to the office. Like, I don't know.
I'm not going to give anything away here, but I once had a student, and I don't work at this place anymore, so I think I'm safe to say. And there was me and a support assistant, and we had this person in the class, and we both thought he was a boy, but he had long hair, and he was a little bit androgynous. But then when we were reading through, because you have like profiles on your class and on certain students, and it was in there that he was transsexual, and that we all had to acknowledge whatever the gender was that he was saying he was. But nowhere in it did it actually say either what gender he actually was or what gender he wanted to be called was. So so we didn't know. So we had this big long conversation about, I mean, we ended up laughing because we were sort of when you feel naughty doing something you shouldn't do.
Right.
It's like, well, is he a boy or is he a girl? I don't know which he is, because at that point it got to the point where it's like, oh my God, I don't even know what my own name is anymore. Is he, because I can't even remember the name. The name was very, like Kim. It was something like Kim that a boy or a girl could have. So, and it was just like, right. Why didn't somebody ever ask? But it was too late at that point,
Like, the thing with pronouns too that's always struck me is,
Sorry, not to interrupt you, Tina, but I'm just thinking that sounds like a Walmart guessing game. But sorry, please continue.
Oh. Yes, it is.
How do you play that game? Where you have all the heads. I just can't think what it's
Guess
called.
Who?
Yeah. How do you play that anymore?
No, you can't. Is your person male or female? I'm not going to assume, bigot. But the thing about pronouns is that, like, how often do you generally refer to somebody in the third person? Like, if you know their name, you're probably going to use their name. Or if you're talking in vague generalities, like I just did, you're going to say them, they. But how often?
Usually when they're not there. So right. It's when you're talking about someone. So this is where it's like, it's none of our business. So if I drop out now and you guys are talking about me privately, if you want to call me she or z or zer, I won't know because I won't be listening. Yeah, or Santa self. That's what I would do. And don't get it wrong.
Right, but it's breaking the rules for you, the rules of grammar, the rules of society, and you have to do it while I'm not there.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone has to play your game.
Yeah, and going back to Shakespeare, they always say this, oh, well, in Shakespeare's days, they call people they and them. It's like, yes, they did, but it was only when you didn't know that person. So, for example, oh, I'm going to the doctor on Wednesday, but you don't know whether it's a he or a she. And you'll say, oh, I hope they are there. But but that's because you don't know what they are. That's the only time you use they and them in the singular. But they don't seem to understand that.
Right.
I think it's just so convenient. It's like convenient for them to not understand. I think there's definitely a lot of bad actors and dishonest intellectual gymnastics going on.
Well, in that book, that genderqueer book, there's one bit, it's just come to me now, and she's been having all these weird conversations with people, and finally there's someone who understands him, her, it, whatever it wants to be. And the statement is, so it's got the character, I'm going to say she because it is a she, says that what she wants, and this is a phrase you'll see all the way through the book, what I want, is she wants people to be confused. And that is what she wants. And I thought, yeah, that is probably the thing to take away from that book.
Why would you want that? Like, what is wrong with your character and your personality? What kind of personality disorder do you have that...
Well,
must you be?
To a certain extent, it's kind of a, like, you know, kind of your inside is so messed up, so you seek control outside. And it's like, well, I'm confused, so everybody should be confused. You're enforcing confusing outward. And like, you feel powerless in your confusion, perhaps. So maybe you want other people to feel that way also. It's like,
that
this
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
That is some freaking wacky shit right there, though. Like, I feel like the thing about, you know, like, it used to be mentally ill people would go to therapy and see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And now you go to a psychiatrist or psychologist and they affirm these delusions.
Right.
Like, what? That's not helping. That is absolutely. I see this comparison a lot now with the between trans and anorexia, but it's a totally valid comparison. Are you going to tell a 90-pound girl at 5'7" that she's fat? Yeah, sweetie, you are really fat. Come on, let's go get you that liposuction. We'll suck it right out of your earlobe. Like,
yeah.
I'm laughing for the wrong reasons here, I think. But well, there's the other thing. Have you heard of the body integrity disorder? I must have talked about this before. Where, and it's usually men, this one, where they can't live unless they have both their testicles removed. And they don't want to have a sex change, but they just don't ever want to have testicles. And there's quite a famous case where this guy, he cut his own testicle out and he nearly bled to death. So they got him in hospital and they actually almost sectioned him. And they said, you know, if you do this again, you know, you're going to be sectioned. And
only
he said, well,
almost?
Yeah, well, I got it. But this is the funny bit. He said, yeah, but I only have to do it one more time. You know, because he doesn't have 3 testicles or 4 testicles. So he did actually get his second testicle removed. I think he got someone else to do it, but like in a bit of a some gay fetish thing where they did this operation and removed it. And it was just like, oh my God. But then there are other people who want their limbs amputated. They want to live in a wheelchair and they're not happy until a perfectly good leg is gone. It's like, what the hell is wrong with people? There's definitely, what was it? Who was it said there's something in the water turning the frogs gay? There's definitely something in the water. Yeah, there's something going on.
It turns out he was right, though. Well, like Hallowed Angel says, the wackiest shit is that we aren't allowed to admit that it's wacky. It's true. Like, I was having a conversation with a nice person on Twitter the other day who was very upset over Mike Harlow's video about Dylan Mulvaney, who is an absolute autogynephile, which is somebody who is turned on by thinking about themselves as a woman. And Dylan Mulvaney, I think, just won a Woman of the Year award for something or was speaking at some women's conference. Anyway, so Dylan Mulvaney is a dude. Okay, this is fact. Anybody who says otherwise is lying. And people get really offended when you call them out on that lie, and they say, no, it's a woman. And then they will try to give you like sources to prove that you are a transphobe and that this person is actually a woman. And it's like, I don't even need to read your weird little clipped out sources. My source is reality. Reality says Dylan Mulvaney is a fucking dude. So stuff it. I'm not reading your bullshit.
Well, I have a theory about Dylan What's-His-Face, because he's an actor. And I honestly think that everything he's doing is just bullshit, and he knows it's bullshit. And I think he's just acting. And at a certain point, when he's made his money and made his fame, he'll just go back to living his life as a gay man. Because that's what he is.
Like, gotcha.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do it for that, because they're not succeeding in whatever sphere they want to be in. So all of a sudden, because, you know, if you're a white straight dude, you're terrible. If you're a white gay dude, you're better, but you're still bad. If you're a white trans person, then you are higher. So.
Yeah, the top of the list is black, disabled, lesbian, trans, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Black, disabled, trans lives matter, yo.
Oh, have you heard about Black Lives Matter? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I saw Sharon Osbourne wanted her 900,000 back.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, more people are, well, I mean, it's something that has been known for years. But hey, more people are getting it. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody as harebrained as Sharon Osbourne is starting to catch up to it, I mean, okay. That's a good sign, I guess. What's the angle of the dangle? I want my 900,000 back.
I wish I had 900,000 to be able to donate to someone. God, can you imagine?
For something that you're not even, that like you could potentially be scammed on, like this, like just
but
literally
also,
just threw it away.
And not only that, something that you could totally have found out that it was a scam before the George Floyd thing. It was already a scam. People already knew. And you're like, oh man, I was scammed. Really? Really? But oh, and also I kind of in my show notes for today, kind of talking about trans and people putting trans gender reaffirming quote surgeries on kids and other stuff and speaking out about it. Have you heard about what happened to Caroline Farrow in England?
Who's that?
Okay, so Caroline Farrow, she's a commentator, but she's not like a super big time commentator. She's married to
religious.
She is.
Yeah, I know.
She's married to a priest. She has 5 kids, and the police came knocking on her door, accusing her of posting. Let's see, what's the thing?
Oh, I did hear about this. I just didn't know her name. Yeah, yes. This is screwed up.
Allegation of malicious communication on kiwi farms. She has never been on kiwi farms. Kiwi farms, if you don't know, is a site where you post things, normally trash talk about different minor celebrities.
Carlin Borisenko has a thread on there if anybody's interested, and it is revealing and juicy. I'm just throwing that out there.
Anyways, so to get all of the gossip, all of whatever. Also, it's a site a little bit like 4chan, and that's often where people go to dox people. Okay, so that's sort of a underbelly of the internet website. Anyways, so Caroline, they knock on her door, and to arrest her for what she has said, and she's like, why are you arresting me? Well, we have to arrest you, otherwise we can't seize all of your electronics. And 2 officers, they force her way in. They do not have a warrant. Okay. And so she's in the middle of cooking dinner for her kids.
A roast chicken, if I remember correctly.
Yes, roast chicken. They seize all of her electronics, even her kid's iPad with the schoolwork and her kids' audiobooks on that iPad. They take her away. They search her socks for drugs. They take off all of her jewelry, including her wedding ring and a cross necklace that she had never taken off since she had got it. And they ask her all of her questions, and they shove things in her face. Did you write this? No, I'm not this account. This was not me. This was not even, there was the guy before, DJ Brady, I believe, who was arrested for reposting a meme and again, he shouldn't have been arrested for that at all. But this woman is arrested for being accused of saying things that she didn't say. And, you know, that potentially this could take a 2-year jail sentence for her. And like so many other things, several years before, she had been that people were sending her death threats online and, you know, harassing her and everything else. She had reported that to the police. Crickets. Yep. But someone alleges her of saying something transphobic online, and, you know, they're taking the mom of 5 to jail, you know, in her printed, you know, flowered house dress, and she's the evil one.
She's, I mean, I know who she is because she used to be on the Sunday morning chat shows, you know, the sort of semi-religious chat shows. I don't know if you have the same in America. I'm sure you do. And I remember she's a very gentle woman, you know, but she believes in her religion and, you know, fair dues. And I remember seeing one episode where she was accused of being everything from, you know, a homophobe to a transphobe to whatever. And it was because she just said, no, I don't hate any of these people. It's just that I don't agree with that lifestyle. They can do it, but it's against my religion. And I watched it and I thought, yeah, well, she's right. You know, that's a perfectly valid standpoint to have. You know, it's okay to disagree with someone's lifestyle. You know, as long as you're not hurting them and stopping them doing whatever, it's perfectly fine. So I feel really sorry for her because I do think she's quite a nice person, you know, from what I've seen of her. But yeah, it's typical. They don't give a shit about people that are actually doing real harm to anybody. You know, they ignore them. They go for the easy targets all the time.
Well, the people that are doing real harm are dangerous and scary. And why would you want to deal with that when you can go knock on a housewife's door and be like, yo, you transphobic bitch, come here. I'm taking your jewelry and traumatizing your autistic child. And, you know, that's much easier than like hunting down a guy with a gun or a knife or something.
Oh.
Yeah, and the howling online would be so much more if it was anybody from any protected group that you're not, you know, is it right to be arresting a woman for something small, for something that should not be a crime? Just to,
to put it into context, for an entire month in Leicestershire, Muslims and Hindus were rioting and fighting each other because they've got a historical hatred going way back, you know, centuries. And it wasn't even reported on the TV until the 20th day. And the police that were there were basically just standing around doing nothing. And people were being beaten, you know, nobody was able to say who was, you know, at fault for doing it. But then somebody who was Muslim, or I can't remember what he was, he said it's wrong to identify them as Muslim and Hindus because there were a few Christians there as well. And it's like, oh, well, you know, let's have the numbers, you know, how many were Muslim, how many were Hindu, and how many were Christian, and let's arrest everybody that did something wrong, you know,
right.
But none of them, well, I think, no, to be fair, some have been arrested. I'm sort of being a bit thingy there. But, you know, they weren't as vigorous in arresting them as they were in arresting that woman whose name I can't remember now. Yeah.
Freaking ridiculous. I mean, that's, you know, I feel like if the Democrats had their way, we would totally have those situations here in the U.S. too. Like, you know,
well, you've got it worse. It's worse in the U.S. Look at where is it? Portland, is it? Places like that.
Oh, I'm not too familiar with what's going on there lately. But you do need a warrant. You do need a warrant, or door slammed in your face. Go fuck yourself. Go get a warrant.
Well, you've got that thing that I am so envious of, and I really am, which is your Constitution. I just think that is the most brilliant thing that you guys have.
Yeah. Well,
well, not everybody thinks so.
That's what I was going to say. Ask all the lefties. They hate it.
It's a piece of garbage. It's an old piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. Like, shut up.
If they ever get rid of it, they'll be sorry and they'll want it back. You watch.
Yep.
They exercise the rights that it gives them to trash it, and not realizing that if it was not there, then they'd be in a whole world of trouble.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the funny things, again, going to Independence Hall, which was super cool. So there was like a little mini tour, like a little 20-minute. They only showed you the 2 rooms, and they had someone get up and give a little speech about, the whole thing and talking about the different people and what the building was before it was, quote, Independence Hall and the rest of it. And the lady giving the talk, it was a pretty good talk, but she talked about the Constitution and about how, people have been arguing about it ever since. And she mentioned that of the original signers, that only 2 of them in the debates wanted like the voting to be a pure democracy and not the electoral college. And, kind of from the angle of, well, people don't want the electoral college now. Like there's so much talk about the electoral college. It's like, you don't understand how brilliant that is about not having an entire country not ruled by just its population centers, that it's equal for all of the states in the middle, not just the big
it's
ones.
It's very clever.
Right.
Because it'd just be mob rule, wouldn't it?
Right.
Like, if there's 10 of you, if it's, a population of 20, and 11 of you want to kill somebody, then you would get that way. Whereas if you have your way of doing it, it's we have something similar, I think, here, but it's not called the same thing. Everything's done by constituencies, so it doesn't matter how many people live in a constituency. You still only get 1 MP, if you know what I mean, for that area. Mm-hmm. Just change the subject slightly. Now that DK and Anne have actually met each other, are you still friends?
Absolutely. I mean, I had a blast. I don't know. She may not have.
I had a great time.
What if one of you had bad breath and the other never knew until you actually meet?
Well, at least if that was the case, we were, too polite to say anything.
No, I thought it was fun. I had a great time. I wish I hadn't felt under the weather, though, because I would have probably been a little more exciting. But that's okay. Ian didn't mind the day we watched movies with the kids, so it was good.
Yeah. We had such ambitions. We were going to get stuff done. We were going to work on things. We were going to collaborate. We did not do that.
Nope. We watched Minions: The Rise of Gru with my kids instead. And that was fun. So whatever.
Well, I was going to ask you to do an interview, and then I thought, they're going to have so much to do. They're going to be so busy and just,
Well, we didn't have a ton of time. I mean, we went to Niagara Falls on Saturday, and on Sunday we went to church, and then on Monday we did something and she left. It was a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. Are you going to try and do it again, or is that it now forever? You never want to lay eyes on it.
And now we never speak ever. That was nice. Goodbye.
No, probably. I mean, if Anne does another extended stay in Pennsylvania, obviously we'd try to make it work. But honestly, we'll probably have to go to her next time, which means planning and going to Mount Rushmore and doing the things out there. So it won't be soon. It'll be, maybe once Trump's back in office, that's when we'll be able to afford to do it. We'll see. Or whomever the Make America Great candidate is. We'll see.
So somebody mentioned in the chat that Tulsi Gabbard just left the Democrats. What?
Yeah.
She did.
She's over it.
Fuck yeah, you go, girl.
So did she do the crossing the aisle thing? Did she or did she just do it
well, the thing is that she really was a Democrat. She's leaving the Democrat Party. A+, good for her. Yay. It's like, you're really not conservative. I mean, like, good for you for changing, and there are some things I agree with her, but really, sincerely, she's not conservative.
Wait, so she went from Democrat to now she's calling herself a Republican now?
I don't know that she's saying that she's a Republican, but this, man, I should have, I should put money on this quick. But I said several months ago, there was a conversation like, okay, so Trump runs again. Who's his running mate? I'm like, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm like, no, that's crazy. And also, really, she's not a conservative. I'm like, I know that. Tulsi Gabbard. I'm like, wow, if I'm right, put so much money on that. Don't mess up my odds, people.
It would make more sense for her to be like independent or libertarian, or well, not libertarian. You don't want to be a libertarian these days for obvious reasons, but
they have their own issues.
independent, I would think would be.
Speaking of libertarians, when is that election? Is that November as well? The whose election?
Yeah. You wouldn't know
yeah.
it though. You wouldn't know it by the way she acts. Never mentions it.
Wow.
Just causes Twitter drama all the freaking time. She's 100,000 times more concerned with this stupid little game she made up, where she tallies. Like, she's kind of doing what I've been doing, where I've been like tallying her tweets. She finally decided to do it herself, but the thing is that the scoreboard she keeps, like all this stuff is just things people are saying in response to her or in response to other people saying something about her. And so it's a total fail. It's really dumb. Highlights her obsession times a billion, but it also makes my job a little easier because then, I see the graphic and I'm like, oh, she's tweeting about these people again. If she tweeted about her campaign and worked on her campaign half as much as she works on that stupid scoreboard, she might actually have a chance. She might be polling at 2% right now instead of 1%. She might actually like double her chances of winning, but narcissists and narcissists. So,
right, just to catch up the crowd, that would be Dr. Carlin Borsenko running for New Hampshire governor under the Libertarian ticket, which I'm sure they regret. And she's the gal who has been, harassing our pals for a long time. So, not to have any confusion on the matter.
She's not a good person.
No, she's not. And not a very good campaign manager, among other things.
She's not really
and
good.
She's been sporting a wicked comb over lately, so let's really.
It looks like a toupee. Like, what the fuck is wrong with your head?
Yeah.
And in every
that looks only good for a 14-year-old boy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's cool?
Some emo 14-year-old kid. But she also, like, in every picture, a couple of people have been saying it looks like she has herpes on her lips. It's either herpes or it's like really, really bad chap lips. So, like, girl.
That sounds like a Trump thing. I don't say it. Some people say it.
Yeah. I don't say it. Some people say it, but the experts all agree. It looks like a cold sore.
But it's the worst that anyone's ever seen, ever. Because everything's always the worst or the best, isn't it?
It's terrible. It's terrible, folks. It is the worst.
Never. Do you think he's going to win?
Huh?
Do you think he's going to stand, and do you think he's going to win?
I don't have high hopes for him winning, but I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think he'll probably run. Hopefully different issues will be resolved. But I was chatting with someone, I may have said this before, but talking about Trump versus DeSantis or whatever. And I love DeSantis. DeSantis is great. But that Trump can come back with the, hey, y'all, I was right. And, oh, yeah.
That's right. I bought this for $10 in a bar one night when I was celebrating a friend's birthday back in May, and some Chinese lady walked into the bar with just like a bag of hats, like baseball hats, and they weren't all Trump, but as soon as we saw the Trump hats, we were like, how much? She's like, $10. So we're like just like flinging money, like, just take my money, give me a hat. So of course I haven't actually worn it anywhere because I don't wear baseball hats. Unlike some people who seem to think that baseball hats are the height of fashion and you should wear them on every single live stream that you do.
Well,
Carly,
maybe you should start doing that. And I also wanted to point out that somebody suggested that perhaps the thing on her lip could be monkeypox.
But she's not a but I thought that was like a gay man thing. How could she get monkeypox?
Well,
there are some rumors, aren't there?
About
someone allegedly, Mr. Borisenko or whatever his name is.
I didn't hear those rumors, but that sounds.
I did not either, but that's interesting.
Anyways,
somebody said the rumor to do the Trump thing. Somebody somewhere did the rumor.
It also says "I'll be back" on the back, which I think is just adorable.
That is adorable.
Yeah.
For $10. Can't go wrong.
Back to the Trump thing, though. Trump and DeSantis not running together would wreck everything, which is true.
That is true, but I think between the two of them, they'd be team players. That they'd get whatever that is sorted out.
I feel like Trump is definitely less of a team player. As much as I love him, like freaking, just I want him back so badly, but I feel like DeSantis has this like major kind of cult following coming up now, and I feel like Trump might kind of react to that a little bit. And I don't know.
I don't know though. I mean, another thing in Trump's favor is that DeSantis, great as he is, we don't know what DeSantis is going to do about like North Korea, for example. We know what Trump is going to do. And with different world stage problems, that is a huge advantage for Trump. That what's going to happen with Russia if Trump is in charge? Absolutely nothing. And
sorry, Ukraine. We're just going to put all this back. We're so sorry. So we didn't mean that.
You're like, that's right. But I did see this article, and it really Lionel Shriver, that she wrote a book called The Mandibles, and she's a part of the free. Yeah.
Can I just say, I freaking love that woman, and I have been thinking about her lately, and I could not for the life of me remember her name, except I knew it was something like lion, or it was something masculine sounding like Theodore or something, and it was driving me fucking nuts. So thank you for mentioning her.
There we go. Okay, she's a part of the Free Speech Union. Okay, I've only read The Mandibles, but she's a great author and everything. But what was she voted for Biden because Trump was too abrasive and Trump was too this? I'm like,
I didn't know that.
I know, if free speech is your issue, and she writes this article and she's like, oh well, I wouldn't vote for Trump, I'll vote for DeSantis. I'm like, which is such a useless thing to say. And I know that some people have those opinions, but it's like, no, you voted for the person who burned all this down. You're so surprised. And then you're still like, well, I'd vote for DeSantis, because he's nicer. As if the media isn't going to make him every bit as evil as Trump was before, that they're not going to do everything they can against him. And then you're going to be surprised when he's the divisive figure now.
I thought she was a British citizen now or something. Like, doesn't she live in the UK?
I'm not sure.
She certainly talks like it. She says things like issues, which just drives me up a fucking wall, because if you're originally American, you're going to go live in the UK and you're going to pick up a bit of an accent. That's what you're going to pick up an accent on. Issues.
How do you say it?
Issues. Rhymes with tissues.
See, now I'm thinking about it too much. I won't be able to say it.
How do you say it, Neil? Come on, Neil. Spit it out. Spit it out, Neil. Come on.
Pressure,
say it.
Pressure. Issue. I've got an issue.
Yeah.
An issue of Block magazine.
Yeah.
An issue of Superman.
That's the word. I mean,
and so what does she say?
Issues.
Oh, issue.
And I hear that every now and then from, podcasts.
It might be, is she trying to sort of do the received pronunciation thing, like talking like the Queen and the royal family? Or the King and the royal family. She's dead. I forgot she was dead for a second.
I don't know, but it's like, it strikes me as a little bit pretentious. But the reason I said I loved her so much was because I had seen a couple videos from her from the Free Speech Union where she brought up some really excellent points. And wow, that is disappointing to know that she voted for Biden. That is
I know.
Really,
which
how can you
just say clever things? But you really missed the boat on that one.
Wow, that is really disappointing. How can you say all these brilliant things and be so for free speech and be like such an anti-woke author, and then like mean tweets hurt my feelings, so I'm voting for the dementia patient? Like,
right.
Speaking of the dementia patient, I love that thing. Was it this week or last week? Where it's, I've got 2 words for you. Made in America. Was that what he said?
Yeah. Dude, he just makes me sad at this point, for real.
It's elder abuse.
It is. And then I was talking on the phone with my friend yesterday, and she was saying that the hands clench like this is like a sign of people. It's something people who are losing their minds do. Oh. And I don't know, whenever he does it, he reminds me of Beavis and Butthead.
I am the great Cornholio.
Speaking of, I didn't take that picture in front of Independence Hall. I was thinking of it.
That's so funny.
Have you guys seen the new Beavis and Buttheads, by the way? Because they're not really funny anymore. And it's so sad.
No, when they were on in the beginning, we didn't have cable and my parents would not let us watch them. So I never really got into them, but I saw enough of it, at friends' houses and stuff. That's the one thing I remember. It's just every time he does that, that's what I think of. And it's funny, but sad, it's a little.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there was an episode of Law & Order SVU that he reminds me of, where there was this guy who, I think he was like an astronaut or something, or like a former astronaut. And he was this, like legend and hero, and Detective Stabler's kids loved him. And, he signed stuff for them. But it turns out that he had like sundowner syndrome. So when the sun went down, like he would, his symptoms would come on, and he would go like do bad things with women and prostitutes and young girls and whatever. But that's exactly what Joe Biden reminds me of, because in this episode, the man knew that he was losing his mind, and it was that he knew he was doing something wrong at night, but he would never have any memory of it. And he was just dealing with having been a big shot for most of his life, and now he's like this demented old man doing these bad things. And then at the end of the episode, he just wound up killing himself because he just couldn't take it anymore. And it was really sad. But obviously Biden's not going to kill himself, but seeing his handlers prop him up and seeing him be like, nobody fucks with a Biden or whatever, trying to hold on to whatever semblance of, imaginary power he has. It's like, we all know you're a puppet at this point, dude.
Well, and kind of not as drastically as that example of sundowner syndrome, but that was something that talked about during the election, that he can't do late night events, that once it hits a certain time of day, he gets progressively worse. And then it's been for several years now, and that's something that, again, not necessarily to that extent, but that the sundown thing with some people who have dementia, that their symptoms are just much worse, in that everything is nice and normal in the morning, but then once evening hits, they don't know who you are. They can't keep a consistent narrative in what they're saying, that those symptoms can get much worse as well. Really, yeah.
And I feel like that should disqualify him from being president, honestly.
Yep. So my friend that we were talking about, the Cornholio thing, we were also talking about, she is convinced that he has body doubles. Do any of you guys buy into that?
Yes. I have seen enough pictures that I am like, absolutely. Because like in one of the sets of pictures, if you look at the earlobes, dead giveaway.
That's her thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because
she said that the stand-in is like 10 years younger and has attached earlobes or something. I'm like, okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
He's nothing like he used to be. He doesn't even sound like he used to.
Right.
I mean, he must have had plastic surgery, to be fair.
Well, yeah,
don't they? But he's nothing
at all. Plugs to begin with.
Yeah, we know he had plugs.
Oh yeah, because now he was balder, wasn't he? When he was about 30, he was bald.
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't Rush call him that?
Yeah.
I believe in the body double thing. I think all of them do.
Okay, and then, but his is doing a lot more work, I think, is the point of it, because he's senile. And then
Hillary's did, though. Hillary Clinton, her double was doing more than she was at the end, because she couldn't barely stand up, could she?
Yeah. But and then my friend, see, I don't know how much of this, I don't have time to pay attention to all the stuff. So she said when Biden fell off his bike, you could see that he had a central line, and she said that's for his Adderall to keep him not crazy for during the day. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And she's also got some theories about Fetterman too, who's running in Pennsylvania. So I don't know. That they're all, but like, if these people are going off the deep end, why are they putting all the money into them? Why can't they just get a new person?
Yeah, why can't they get like healthy people who can string a sentence together?
Well, they've probably got a committee, haven't they, that are ruling America by committee. And if you've got somebody who's, you know, a Trump or somebody who's got the, you know, the brain intact, then they can't do what they want to do.
Right.
It's as simple as that, isn't it, really? Because it's Obama, isn't it? Obama's probably the one still pulling the strings. Because that was his dream, wasn't it? He actually said that to people, that that's what he wanted to happen.
Yeah, and you
know,
I mean, and if it's Obama or not, that is because, I mean, look, you have Biden, he goes out and says things, and then the White House press office says he doesn't mean them. Well, who's the president if he doesn't mean them? You would say that the guy in charge either means what he says or can walk them back himself.
Yeah.
Like, that's a consistent issue that they have. But okay, even so, if Obama is truly in charge or not or whatever, that it's still Obama in the center of photos when the Bidens and the Obamas get together, which is wild.
Yeah.
That says it all then, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. The body language of it all.
Yep.
Speaking of demented presidents, or, you know, people who should not, I mean, you just brought up Hillary and that reminded me. I said something recently. Is she seriously teasing another run? Because, lady, no. No, don't do that. Like,
oh, please do it. That we want her to do it. That'd be hilarious. Can you imagine if it was another Trump, a Trump and Hillary rematch? That'd be
I know.
It's like, why?
Well, they've already demonstrated that they're capable of sealing elections, so maybe that would not be a good idea. I mean, they did it once; they can totally do it again.
Well, and Hillary's so clearly upset that, you know, you didn't steal it for her.
For real. Well,
is it because I'm a woman?
People couldn't even care enough.
My friend that's full of conspiracy theories, she did have a super great point, though. She said, go vote in person, day of, later in the day, so that they know less. Like, if we inundate them later, then it'll be harder for them to cheat. So Helen Angel wants us to have a WWE death match music. So.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner.
Oh, God. That's all we need.
God, what would her entrance music be? Gosh, I don't even like. I mean, and who would let Trump use any of their music for his entrance?
Well, he already uses YMCA pretty often, you know.
It's terrible.
I don't know.
But so totally separate, though, is anything truly separate? I don't know if any of you have been following the Nick Rekieta stuff with him being banned from YouTube and then unbanned.
Vaguely, like from a distance. I haven't really.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm glad he got unbanned because that ban was bullshit. That was just a bunch of butthurt people flagging him. But now he's suspended from Twitter, though, right?
Yes. Well, so Nick Rekieta, he is, you know, king of the law tubers. You know, that what he would do, and especially during the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case, the Kyle Rittenhouse case and everything, that he would do all day live streams of these cases, and he would bring people in to talk about different aspects, like people who specialize in self-defense law and other things. So very informative that way, and also very funny. That he's an entertaining guy. He's a lawyer from Minnesota. And he just blew up in popularity, and that they had he had a couple of strikes on his channel, and there's a guy or gal or trans person who is after him, Keffels or something like that. Anyways,
Keffels,
there we go.
Her real name is Claire Sorrenti.
Okay, see, Tina's on it. But anyway, so what happened is trying to get him banned off everything. And it was something like 45 or 46 ethics complaints against him in the state of Minnesota. But in the state of Minnesota, if you're a lawyer and there's ethics complaints against you and they were dismissed, you get the names and addresses of all the people who submitted them. So he then, because he has this information, read them, and then that totally, his channel was erased off YouTube for that, because that was considered doxing. He's like, no, this is the information that I was given. But anyways, and then he went over to Rumble and did very well there. And there was a big outcry, and he's now on a 2-week suspension from YouTube, but his videos are back up. And he's still off Twitter. And the day that his videos were back up on YouTube, he was then banned from Twitch. So it's like they're jerking him around every which way.
Oh,
terrible.
He's doing well, though.
That Keffels person apparently publicly admitted to selling black market drugs to teens who want to transition.
Yes. Yes, sending the transitioning drugs to teens behind their parents' backs.
Yeah. Shining example of humanity right there. Totally not an evil person at all.
Oh, speaking of evil people, have you seen our latest serial killer in the UK?
Oh, you have a new one?
Kind of, yeah. It's alleged. She's been in court today. Yeah.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, it's not a nice story, really. She's a nurse in a maternity ward, and she's accused of murdering 7 babies and trying to kill 10 others. And one of the mothers, she had, I think I've got this right, she had twins, and she killed one of the twins, and she was in the process of trying to kill the other twin, and the mother walked in, and she just said, "Oh, it's okay, I'm a nurse." And apparently the baby had blood coming out of his mouth. And she said, "Oh, it's okay. It's where he's been intubated, you know, when they put the thing down the throat." And but it wasn't. She'd injected something into his stomach, which is what was killing them all. Allegedly. She's in court. She hasn't been proved to have done it yet, but I think there's a lot of evidence to say she did do it.
She got caught in the act. I mean, that's pretty strong right there.
Yeah. Well, they were saying she was like, the way it was described, somebody described her as like a malevolent presence whenever she was on the ward, whenever she was on duty. The babies were getting ill or dying. You know, it's like, so at some point somebody must have realized there was a connection. But she's so young and so innocent looking, you know, you just think, wow, it just goes to show, you know, you always expect serial killers to be, you know, ugly and weird looking, you know.
You guys had another female serial killer in the hospital, Beverly something other, I think.
Beverly Allett, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we've had a few women serial killers over the years. We do them well. But it made me think about the whole abortion thing again as well, because I was just thinking, you know, the same people that would be fine killing those babies, you know, a week earlier when it was still inside, you know, they'll be up in arms about them killing the baby afterwards. You know, it sort of shows a real disconnect in, you know, compassion, I think.
Yeah, it's like until the baby's born, it's not real. It's just an abstract concept. It's like, it's not really real. I can't see it. I can't see you. You're not real.
I just wonder what brings somebody to do that. You know, what to go into a nursing career to do that. I just can't get my head around it, you know. Because surely if you hate babies, you just wouldn't do that job.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't get it.
There's something obviously very wrong there. I mean, I have no idea.
Sorry, I've really brought the tone down now, haven't I?
Yeah.
Shall we cheer things up a bit?
Babies, really.
I haven't heard that one though.
Like I want to know the psychology behind that. Like I know that when they were talking to Beverly Allett, it was like she wasn't obviously a psychopath. Like she kind of knew that what she did was wrong, but you know, it wasn't quite, I mean, it was freaking evil, but I mean, to go and just like specifically murder babies, what is going on in your head? Did you have a bad childhood? Are you possessed by a demon? Did you just like snap and decide you couldn't take the sound of babies crying anymore at work all day, so you decided you were just going to shut them up forever? Like, how do you reach that level? How do you...
Is it some level of a power trip?
Just read
I mean, God. maybe she's been in California. Apparently they're trying to pass a law that you can't investigate sudden infant death if they die in the first 2 years.
That's not a good law to pass.
No, I'm not a fan of it.
That's unbelievable. That's what the Romans were like. The Romans allowed babies to be killed up to 2 years old. You know, it's like going back in time.
It is. It's terrible. But they admit that they're killing babies. They don't give a crap. I'd rather be a murderer than a mother.
Wow.
People are sad. Like, for real people.
That's just freaking bananas. So here's another thing that I wanted to bring up real quick. It's like, these people are totally fine with, well, the baby isn't real until it's born, right? But now you have people from, I think it was Boston Children's Hospital, saying that children know they're transgender in the womb. So which is it?
Yeah.
Is your child a sentient being that knows that they're the wrong gender in the womb, or is the child not real and could be aborted whenever? Like,
logic doesn't matter. It's just jump when we say you do.
I got nothing for that. Don't expect it
to run together.
I feel like California is really becoming like a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Like they are just backwards in all things. No logic, no moral compass. Everything is just like shockingly awful coming out of there now. And I mean, I'm saying this as somebody who's I think I'm pretty socially liberal. I mean, I'm centrist technically on the political chart, but I mean, there are just things that I am just like clutching my pearls over. Like, what are you people even doing? Everything is wrong. Everything Newsom does is bad and wrong. There is not a single thing that I've seen come out of California that I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. That's a good bill.
Right. But now we're living in a state where Kathy Hochul wants to be like him.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So now we're going to have this crap going on.
Yeah.
And speaking of presidential runs, there's a lot of people like, ooh, Gavin Newsom. Yeah. It's really
the president.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom. OMG.
Yeah.
I mean, even I know who he is.
WTF OMG.
Yeah. Holy crap.
It's awful.
Oh, press the end of the world button, somebody. Just do it now.
What is that about misery? Overgelled hair and the Joker grin. Certainly. Put that man everywhere.
Yeah, no. Oh, that reminds me of I was watching some mystery thing last night. Do you guys know about the whole Injured Cold thing?
Injured Cold?
Injured Cold. Okay, so you guys have heard of like Mothman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that same area, the Mount Pleasant area, I don't know what the fuck is going on down there, but in the 70s, there was a man who, there were a couple of sightings of this guy. He's apparently an extraterrestrial. His remarkable feature is that he grins, like just this, he doesn't stop grinning. It's like super freaking creepy. And he talks telepathically to whoever he's communicating with. And even though he's grinning, it's like a mockery of a smile almost, because everybody that's encountered him just gets this horrible, malevolent feeling like this is a sinister creature. Even though they're grinning at me and they seem very friendly and cordial, this creature means to do me harm. And even though he's saying like, oh, we don't want to hurt you or anything. So yeah, I feel like Gavin Newsom is kind of like a human Injured Cold, like, don't look past the smile, Just take everything on the surface.
That reminds me of the other trans guy. What's he called?
Jeffrey Marsh.
Jeffrey, yes. That's as you were describing that. I thought
or is he just like sometimes he's trans, sometimes he's not, or something?
No, I think he's non-binary. I think he just likes to wear lipstick. So he's what we would have referred to as a cross-dresser back in the day. He likes to wear
transvestite.
Chick stuff, okay? Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what about him?
Oh no, it just reminded me when you were describing this face with the grin, I just thought of him. His face came into my head.
Yeah, he's creepy. And then when Mikey does his impersonations of him, that's freaking creepy too.
They're amazing.
He's too good at it. I don't like
it. Yeah.
sometimes you're a boy and sometimes you're a girl. Like,
it's the one where he did it side by side that got me, because it was like, you know, looking at one foot, it's like when they became the same thing almost, you know.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Okay, I want to change the subject real quick and share my fundraiser, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Can I do that by hitting the present button? Is that how you do it?
I don't know.
We're about to do some. Okay, let me close some tabs here, and then I'm going to see if I can pull up this fundraiser. So go fund me, motherfucker. Okay. Sign in. So I'm doing a fundraiser for a friend of mine who is, he's pretty permanently disabled at this point. Oh, I forgot the password here is like super complicated because you have to have like your blood type and shit and an exclamation point. So
your blood type and an exclamation point. So if you guys know that about Tina, you can log in.
Well, there's only
and the last 4 digits
there, isn't there?
Oh, and the last 4 digits of your social security number. So
okay.
Anyway, I have to put in a verification code. So anyway, so this guy Steven, I've known him for like 10 years, and he's a really he's got a dark sense of humor, which you kind of have to have when you're going through the stuff he is going through. He wound up losing a whole bunch of his toes a couple years ago because of diabetes complications, and okay, here we go. He's slowly going blind. He's got really bad cataracts and he needs surgery, and he's just a mess right now. Like, this poor guy, he hits me up probably like usually like once every 2 weeks, but sometimes it's like once a week because he doesn't have money for food, and he was denied food stamps because he doesn't technically pay rent. He's not on the lease he lives with his ex-wife, and she takes $900 a month from him in rent, and he only gets $1,900 a month. And the other $1,000 usually winds up going to all of his medical bills. You know, he's on 2 different kinds of insulin. He's got therapy stuff to go through, and he's just a freaking wreck. But despite all of this, he is working so hard to, advocate for himself. He's not sitting there going, woe is me, everything sucks, nobody's helping me, everybody just walked away. The thing is, a lot of people, and you see this over and over again, people walk away from people when they get sick or seriously disabled or something. They don't want to see it. They don't want to deal with it. Like, God forbid the person asks you for help. I mean, that's just like, I don't want to give you money. I need that money, like that sort of thing. And his ex-wife really begrudges him a lot of things. Like, she yelled at him once for having a glass of milk out of the refrigerator, like a glass of milk. So he can't walk very well, obviously, because of the toes. He recently bit it really hard and like wound up knocking out his teeth and like smashing his glasses. So I've been helping him with food a lot. I give him like $50 a week here and there. I bought him new glasses because like his vision's bad enough. You can't not have glasses. He doesn't really have much of a family. And he's currently, he's done everything he could to, take advantage of different resources and benefits for people like him. He's finally got Accessorides, so he doesn't have to pay for Uber if he needs to go somewhere. He's really working hard to get himself into a better situation too. So he's on a list for housing stuff. But here in the city, as you can imagine, the list is miles long. So he's just like, well, people are dropping like flies. So one of these days I'll get a spot on the list. And but the thing is, so he has this motorized wheelchair, and he's 6'4". He's kind of a very tall guy, and I guess he didn't realize when he got the first wheelchair, which was also crowdfunded, that somebody of his frame needs something a little more sturdy and stable. So I figured, I would help him get the wheelchair, which is going to be about $6,000. But then also I figured just like throw in an extra couple thousand because, food and all that stuff. And, his ex-wife just taking advantage of him like a totally nice person would do. So I'm going to look at, okay, view fundraiser. I'm going to see if I can. So the goal is $10,000. And I also, okay, how do I present? Share screen? But how do I do that if I have, okay. Screen sharing tips, blah, blah. Am I doing this right? Okay.
It should create like a little window at the bottom, and then
yeah, here we go.
And
okay.
then PK will have to put it on the screen, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Is this working?
You'll know if it's working if there's a little square appeared at the bottom.
There it
of
is.
your
I got
screens.
it. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I feel like just leveled up technologically or something.
There
like
we go. We have technology.
Other people do it. Now I could do it too. So anyway, this, let me scroll down a little. So this is the name of the fundraiser. I'm just going to read about it for you. I'm going to read you the description. My name is Tina Portilla, and I'm fundraising for my good friend, Stephen Cherone. He's currently dealing with extreme vision problems, which prevent him from being able to see well, even with glasses, and due to the amputation of several toes, cannot walk well or far. He does have a really great voice, however, and I'm really hoping that once his vision is fixed, maybe he could do like, I don't know, audiobook reading or something, because he has a great voice for that stuff. So anyway, he's suffering from diabetes, and as a result of his issues, is permanently disabled. He has very few close family or friends to lean on, and the medical bills he's faced with each month leave him with little left over for basic necessities such as food. He's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can read all this yourself, I guess. I really just want to help somebody who's trying so hard to help himself, because he is, I feel like he really deserves it. And to sweeten the deal, because I know, nobody else knows this guy. This is like a cause near and dear to my heart, but like somebody else is gonna be like, who do I care about him in his wheelchair? I put this up on Twitter yesterday, so if any of you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen it. Any knitters who share, for every $50 in knitter shares, you get a free skein of yarn out of my shop. And for every $75 somebody gives, I will knit somebody a hat, either a beanie, slouchy, or pixie hat, out of any colorway from my shop. So yeah, there's some incentive there. Just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody feels like doing good, or it's a much better cause than Black Lives Matter. It's actually going to go. It's actually going to benefit somebody. It's not a mansion for somebody. It's just a wheelchair and some food. But I would argue that is a much more worthwhile cause than some. Yeah.
Right.
Anybody know Sharon Osbourne?
Yeah.
Right?
Hey Sharon, if you get your money back,
Yeah.
we have a better cause for you. So
I noticed that you did it on a GoFundMe as well, which I know some people have a problem with GoFundMe, but I'm just really glad you've done it in a way that can't be seen as being, dodgy, or you're trying to steal money off people, because we see so much of that at the moment. And I don't know whether anyone's been looking at
like who, Neil?
I'm about to tell you. Has anyone been watching Fleecing the Disturbed at all lately?
No,
My
but
other
I
great
haven't.
friend.
I am here for the juice.
Well, it's kind of sad, and I have every sympathy for part of her story. But a while back, I was been watching because I thought something strange here. She kind of kept going on about how she was having a family emergency and something was going on, but she wasn't sort of divulging what it was. And then the next thing was she was having to go to a hospital every day. So she was literally begging people to pay for her parking at the hospital, which was $6 a ticket, I think it was. And I thought at the time, that's a bit odd. I just thought it was strange. Well, then it turns out that her father has died, which is really sad. I've got, every sympathy for her. But now Lola Bean are sort of advertising on her behalf, and they're kind of using the fact that her father has died to get people to sign up to do her Knit Stars thing. And I just think it's really tacky and tasteless to use a death to try and get money for your business. It just doesn't seem right. And I don't know whether it's just me being, you know, sensitive to what they're doing. I don't know, but I just think it's really wrong. And there's what was the other case? There was another case recently as well. Busy Peaches. I don't know if you've ever seen anything to do with her. They do something called a busy shower. And what they do is they deliberately pick, so far it's only been black makers. And these are people that have a business. So they're already in business. And then they do something where they do a fundraiser for that business where they get gifts and they get money. And there's no reason for them to have this. You know, it's just because they're black and they run a business. And so I have a real issue with fundraising because one of the last ones that she did was for Beyond Yarn, which I've mentioned to her before. She's the one that had the sign outside saying, your husband said it's okay to buy yarn here, you know, and they never mentioned it. They just completely ignored that. Now,
after hobby because, you know, they're white. So,
well, they've been doing a fundraiser for her because she was struggling after COVID. And it's like, well, other people have struggled after COVID as well, you know, other small businesses. But now they're doing this other fundraiser as well. So I just have this feeling that everything is a way of making money. And it just leaves a really bad taste, you know.
Yeah. It's everything is a grift now.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another thing that the internet really enables people to do is to grift and to scam people.
Well, Lady Di Knits, I mean, I know, I don't know if you've been following that story because this is going to get big. It really is going to get big.
But you can't talk about it, Neil. You can't talk about it. You have to talk about the white people that are doing this.
Stay in your lane and talk about
she is a woman of color, and I cannot believe that you are going to go after her like that.
But I'm a woman of color.
Oh,
I've said it numerous times. I'm a woman of color.
Excuse me. Standing in solidarity.
Well, can I just cut in really, really quick?
Yeah,
sorry.
Sure.
I don't mean to interrupt. So people in the chat are talking about, you know, like he's got to get off the carbs and everything, my diabetic friend. I did talk to him about that because I've been keto for a long time. And I did mention, you know, what's your diet like, this, that, and the other thing. He pretty much lives on like pork chops and broccoli. So he's aware of the carbs. He knows it's a bad thing. There's actually a picture of us from a few years ago. We went out once. We went to a steakhouse and we had like discussed keto. There's actually a picture of us enjoying steak. So
there's evidence.
We're not twin flames, but there is a picture of us enjoying steak. So he knows about the carbs. He's doing he's doing the best he can do. I haven't like grilled him about his diet. If you're low carb, you should not be drinking milk, but I'm guessing that he was just getting what he could get at the time. So he's aware, but I'm not sure if he's type 1 or type 2 diabetes. I think I asked him once and didn't really get a response. I think he might actually be type 1 diabetes. So he's it's not quite like my brother had type 2 diabetes and somehow magically reversed it. I don't think he was even trying. He's also going through chemo right now. So he lost a lot of weight. And I think that helped reverse a lot of it and, you know, like not eating anything ever. So for anybody in the chat who's saying he needs to get off the carbs, like he's doing pretty good. He's working on it. So good. Anyway, sorry, Neil, go on.
So I was just saying about Lady Di, one of her latest things just before she disappeared and she hasn't said anything, is that she was doing this thing called a yarn club reunion. So have you ever heard of this? So people that buy a yarn club, oh wow, somebody's generous.
Hi, Poetry Painter, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you came to visit.
Yay, the grift is working. So what it is that if you've ordered any of her yarn club colours at any point, you're invited to her reunion, which is like a weird thing because it's like not like you've met anybody else that's ever ordered that colourway. And the cost of it is $150. And people are buying it. Yeah, and there's no
what?
Oh, it gets better. It gets better.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. $150 for what? Like, what are you getting?
Well, let's say it's you, Tina. Okay, so let's say I've got your dramatic color, your dramatic potato colorway. So let's say you decided to have a dramatic potato reunion. So every person that's bought your yarn, dramatic potato, will pay you $150, and we will be invited to physically go somewhere that you haven't booked yet. And you haven't said what you're going to provide for this $150 yet. However,
and they have to pay for their travel expenses too. On top of that, I'm assuming, right?
Well, no, I think you do that yourself. I don't think that's covered. But then it gets better. So some people won't be able to afford to actually go, or they may be in a different country or a different state. So they can do it online, and they only have to pay $75 to be part of this reunion.
Only.
So that's what I would have to do. I would have to pay $75 to be, because I'm in a different country.
Okay, this is the most bizarre thing I have ever heard of in my life as a yarn dyer. Can I just say that?
Right. I think this comment pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. I mean, okay, this is coming from somebody who I'm not going to say I fetishize yarn, but I freaking love yarn. I freaking love my own yarn. I love other people's yarn. I think about yarn morning, noon, and night. That is the dumbest shit I have ever seen in my life, and I would not pay a penny to do that, for the record.
Okay.
Hordfest 22 is coming.
Yeah. Got my hat and everything.
But what I think is happening, I think the reason she's doing it is because she's got herself allegedly into a little bit of trouble, and she owes allegedly quite a lot of money. Yeah. And I think this is a very short-visioned or very short-sighted way of trying to get a lot of money quickly to pay what she may owe. And then she's going to worry about what she does with those people after. So she's creating another problem. Sorry, Tina, say that again.
Has anybody actually bought this yet?
That I don't know, but they will have done. They will have done because they're supporting a black maker, so they will do it. And our friend Erin.
Ooh, my battery's low. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Anne, go on.
I was going to say that. That I think that I saw the thing and it was like, oh, you get like a goodie bag of something for your $75 to $150. Like, oh, good.
I think it's a mini, isn't it? A mini skein of something, of a badly dyed piece of yarn.
For $75, that's what I want.
Well, she was charging for one of the clubs, I believe, I might be wrong, so forgive me if I'm wrong, it was $95, and what they were getting was a full skein and a mini skein, and that was for $95.
Wow.
But to add insult to injury...
That's called a sock set, and you can sell it for actually 30 something. That's
but this was the insult of it, was that she was selling those two yarns on her website for the average normal
regular price.
So if you were, buying into the club, you were paying 3 times as much as if you were just buying the yarn off her website. Allegedly. I've got to keep saying that because these are all accusations that may not be true. There was one other thing I was going to say about Lady Diana. I forgot what it is. Erin, our friend Erin, the one that said some really nasty things about us.
She loves us.
Oh, she does, yeah. She's jumped on, and because I'm sure she's watching. And she's defending Lady Di. She's defending her honour, and she's admitted to going on the website and writing a fake review, a fake good review to try and get the reviews back up. And some of the people on Craftsnack or Demon Trolls, I forget which it is now, probably both, are starting to turn on her. So it's a bit like Erin might get eaten alive. We wait and see.
Yeah. That reminds me of, so when I got sick and I just stopped dying for a while and I was totally unable to get back to people for a while, when I was refunding people, I got a review on one of my refunds, which it's weird that Etsy allows people to review things that they haven't got. I'm refunding your purchase. Why are you allowed to review it? You didn't freaking get it. So this chick, whose name was Mallory Strong, I remember, she said, I never received the product, and I'm glad because the dyer is a white nationalist who supports domestic terrorism. So I responded publicly, and I said, and I also got Etsy to remove the comment that, thanks, Etsy, because that was just totally fucking made up. I said, Dyer does not support groups such as Antifa and therefore does not support domestic terrorism, and furthermore would not have chosen to live in the beautiful, vibrant, diverse city of New York for the past 18 years if she was a racist and a white nationalist. Also, customer received the same refunded message as everybody else. So go fuck yourself, Mallory Strong.
But also, like, I'm sorry, then why did you purchase to begin with if you believe that about you?
She must have not known and then like looked at my Instagram or something and saw all the kerfluffle and was like, oh, she's anti-woke. Let me slander her.
Well, I had a bit of an FU moment today because I remembered that Ace Knits, Adrian something, I can't remember his last name, he'd done one of those videos. Do you remember the scripted videos about Block Magazine, not to read it? And he talked about Lady Di's Candid and Colourful, and that is the one you should buy. And you'll be fulfilled and inspired by it. And it was a bit like, well, that didn't age well because nobody got the copy that they bought. If they bought the hard copy, it's never been sent out since December. People are still waiting since December. I think they probably got the e-version. Well, that's $45. So we've talked about this a few times over the months.
I'm sorry, $45 for an online magazine.
Yeah, $50 for a print version that you never get.
Where are these people getting these fucking numbers from? Are they just like making up numbers and being like, well, I feel like it should be this much. So,
well, Eat, Sleep, Knits, I think the shop is called. She ordered 80 copies, hard copies of the magazine, and never received them. So she's owed apparently almost $10,000 for magazine sales. I think there might be yarn included in that. Yeah.
I think that the problem here, and maybe we should restructure our businesses, guys, but these people appear to have more money than they have sense. And
do we
so
have to include emotional labor into our costs? Well,
I think if we did, that they would be more excited to pay it. So
yarn was included, yeah. Well, I don't charge anything for the stuff I do. I'm a complete idiot.
I'm just saying, we need to rethink our business plans. Perhaps Anne and I should just open up a Patreon and not offer any extra content because we deserve it.
Emotional labor support.
We should charge
emotional support, but please don't message me. I will not be replying to your emotional support emails.
Yes. And my DMs are not open if you don't look like me. That's what they say. You may not DM me if you are a different color than I am. Which sounds super racist when I say that, doesn't it?
Fatima says that. She's very open about it. If you're white, you are not to contact her at all.
Mm-hmm. Bitch, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but I wouldn't want to talk to you anyway, and your racist ass. So go crawl back under that rock you came from in Africa or whatever, because I'm not fucking interested.
Here's an excellent one. How are they going to put their virtue signal on their coffee table for their guests to see how woke and altruistic they are? Right? They need that magazine, guys.
Exactly.
They need it right now.
Woke knitting friends who all the time always come to their house?
Well, they probably aren't coming to their house right now because they're probably social distancing and being considerate of people who are immunocompromised.
Which is everybody, apparently.
Right.
That's right. And maybe you put this up on your mantelpiece. This is my yarn magazine.
I don't respond to DMs unless the person looks exactly like me. And since no one looks exactly like me, I just don't respond to DMs. There you go. That's the plan.
Well, this is the same one that's just moved to Canada, by the way. She's moved to Vancouver to a very white stroke Asian area. So there's hardly any black people in that area. So I don't know who she's going to talk to.
I thought she was scared of white people. I thought she wanted to go take a hike because there's white people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how do you do that? How can you walk in your neighborhood? I don't understand.
So unsafe right now, you guys. Oh my god, it's like that episode of South Park where they have the pandemic. It's startling. He's going down the street and there's giant guinea pigs sabotaging the city or whatever, and it's I'm so startled right now, you guys. I'm so startled, and he's just filming everything and. Yeah, instead of guinea pigs, it's white people.
They're too scared to be on a making app unless they're in their own little room on there. So how do they get through life in real life? I don't know.
I don't know. I forgot. I was wearing my shirt today that says "Kiss Me, I'm Deplorable," and I went into a shop and I was talking to the person who, it's a new store in our area, and I was talking to the person, and I was trying to be very chill about stuff. And then I realized that I had blown my own cover inadvertently because my shirt said it, and I was like, well, I guess I could have said whatever I wanted to, but my God.
I have a theory that people like Lady Di and Lola Bean are having trouble with their businesses because so the thing is, like, there's this thing called physics, and there's like only so many skeins of yarn that you can dye at any given time.
Really?
Given setup. Yeah, I know. This is really hard for people to believe. But
let me sit back a minute and take this in. So
I know. There's not an unlimited capability of making like endless yarn skeins all at once. This saddens me greatly every day.
Is this your white fragility talking now? Is this because you're a white woman? Is this your white tears?
Well, math and physics are inherently white supremacy, so I guess so.
Of course,
but
yes.
Anyway, I cry about this every day, that there's nothing I can do to just rapid fire immediately make yarn. But I think they're not doing well because what happened was, with the whole BLM thing and everybody being like, support Black makers, support BIPOC makers, they can't keep up with the demand for their business now. And they're panicking, and they don't want to stop reaping the rewards of being Black and dyeing yarn, but they can't produce the product. And so I guess Yen's battery died. Oops.
I think so.
Plug it in, girl. That's what I did.
She's showing her black square in solidarity for BLM.
She is, absolutely. But that's part of the reason that I don't aggressively market my business, is because at the current time I have a stove. My studio space, which is my counter, is between that and my stove, my arm span is bigger than both of them. So I know that I'm not set up to do a whole bunch of yarn in a short amount of time. So that's why I keep my business relatively small. And I'm not sitting there being like, I'm not advertising on Ravelry, for example, and being like, not that they would probably want my advertisement.
Right.
I certainly wouldn't want to give them my money. But until hopefully in the next year or so, me and the fella are going to get out and go to Connecticut, and I'll have like a real setup. Like, we're looking at houses and I'm getting so excited. I'm like, this house has 2 kitchens because it's a 2-family home. We can have half of the house for yarn dyeing. Like, this is so exciting. But yeah.
Just something else that Adela's doing. I don't know if you know about this, but she's got 2 houses. So one house is where she does the yarn dyeing, and one house is where they live, which is
she has a whole house for yarn dyeing.
Well, what she's doing, she's turning it into a yarn dyeing school. This is the plan. She wants to be, but it's only for Black people.
Are you?
No, this is real. So only Black people.
Isn't that illegal?
Isn't that racist?
Well, absolutely
racist.
So everything always gets better with these people. So they're going to be learning to dye at this house. They're going to live at the house for however long the course is.
This is a reality show in the making.
Dude,
but they're not going to pay for it.
It's a cult.
Yeah,
it's not a reality show. It's a cult.
She's going to be getting the white people to pay like scholarships for these people to do these yarn dye, and only Black people are allowed.
Yeah.
Somebody said before, can you tell me the name of the person who does not want to hear from you? That was Fatima Hines, and she's got a site called Disturbing the Fleece, or Fleecing the Disturbed, as I like to call it.
Oh, can I just say, I love you, Hallowed Angel. She says, that's it. We need to go fund me to buy Tina a yarn dyeing house.
If Tina gets a yarn dyeing house, then I want a studio where my kids can't find me. I'm just saying.
Well, what you need to do. I love
them to death, but.
You need to have a very unfortunate electrical fire, and then you need to do a GoFundMe that will pay for the house, even though you might be.
For the record, I don't have an HVAC system. Okay, I have it's this really ancient technology. It's called a window. I open it up, I push it open, and it's like there's air. And sometimes in summer, my kitchen gets upwards of 90 freaking degrees, and I have to wait until 3 a.m. to dye yarn. But you know what? It's my job, so I do it, and I don't complain about not having an HVAC. I know.
What? Wait. So you're telling me that you do your job even when you don't want to?
And even when it's physically uncomfortable sometimes, because sometimes it's a little hot and I sweat and the oven's on, and you know, and furthermore, I forgot what I was going to say, but I am gobsmacked at the amount of excuses these people come up with as to why they can't do their job. Mm-hmm. It's just,
you know, sometimes I wonder too. Also, hello guys, my computer died. It's not charging. I don't know why. I do not have a Patreon. So
it's a much clearer camera.
I'll get it figured out. Don't worry. I don't know.
Tina, that's your white privilege. That's what Liz said.
Yes.
No, but
I'm also really lazy, so
the laziest of all yarn dyers. But
oh, I forgot. Yeah. There is that.
But that I once ran a garage sale for a socialist. It was a funny experience. Among other, it was very interesting talking the basic capitalist principles. There is a price on it, and the other person pays that price. They can haggle a little bit, but it was, I don't know, it was a fascinating experience because part of it is that if you think capitalism is inherently evil, then you think the point of capitalism is to screw the other guy and that there's no consequences for this. So that it's like, okay, well, capitalism and the patriarchy is keeping me down. So I'm not going to provide a good quality product at a reasonable time for the price we agreed on. Like, you're like, no, that's not how the game is worked. It's like, well, of course that's how the game is. The game is against us. Therefore, we have to get one up on them. It's like, no. And I'm wondering if that isn't it's like all of these fundraisers for businesses. Okay. I mean, you know, Tina, you have a business. Other people we know in the yarn world have a business. The way, in my mind, to support your business is to either buy yarn from you or to say, hey, I like this yarn, and hopefully other people will. That would be obvious to me. And then, you know, you're also running a fundraiser for a friend. So that's just kind of an extra bonus. That's how I would help your business or things in that vein. Not just, we're going to throw this party for Tina and just give her free money, as much as you might like that.
Also, it's not, I mean, it would be like me saying, you know, guys, my business really isn't doing well. Nobody's buying my yarn. I've gotten some bad reviews. My product isn't that great. Can you guys just like throw me money so I can keep making really shitty yarn and not sending it to people? Like, oh, but that reminds me, I'm such a fucking ding-a-ling. I forgot another key component of this fundraiser. I have a yarn that I've dyed in his honor. This is going to be an ongoing. Let me just freaking go get it. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Yeah. After she shows her yarn, I've got to go, and I can't figure out how to make Anne or anybody else the leader of this. So we're gonna have to break up the party, because when we went camping at the beginning of September, I rear-ended. I was following my husband, who was driving his mother's car with his mother in it, and I was driving our brand new car behind him, and I rear-ended him with our brand new car, and it cost $3,000 to fix. And I should have run a GoFundMe for it.
Yeah, we should have done
what
a sob story
man?
for you.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Drive.
I don't know why I didn't even think of that. So,
there's
but
still
my point
time.
is that
we'll do one for you. There's still time.
my point is that after Tina shows her yarn, I've got to go because we have to pick it up before the shop closes because they want my cash money. So
cash money.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have black with purple and green flecks, and it's called Foolish Mortals because he's a fan of Haunted Mansion, which I've never seen. So there's the yarn all caked up. Yeah, and 20% of this goes to him in perpetuity. This is separate from the fundraiser, so it's just forever and ever he gets money from this yarn. So if anybody's interested in that. I want to say,
Perfect for Halloween.
Yes, I wanted to mention, I actually have I am planning on releasing Halloween yarns a little late, I know, but you know, like COVID sucks dick and whatever. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, this comment made me laugh really hard. Personal responsibility is for dweebs. I think that's exactly what it is.
I'm gonna be releasing Halloween yarns soon, even though it's super late. So you might not
February. You've got till February.
Oh, And there's going to be one called Monster Mash, which is kind of like that one, but it also has orange in it. So that's going to be fun. And also, really quick, I just want to see if there's any interest in this. I was thinking of doing a monthly yarn and nail polish kind of thing, where you'd have like a skein of yarn and
feels like finally.
Yeah,
it's what he's been waiting for his whole life.
Absolutely. Look at these horrible fingernails.
I had a coordinating bottle of nail polish to like go with it. So if anybody's interested, like, you know, just shoot me a message on Instagram or whatever. I just kind of want to.
I told you, men are discriminated against in this industry.
You could. I used to paint my ex-boyfriend's nails all the time. You could totally do it. So yeah. Halloween can be celebrated year-round. Paisley is absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
Oh, and speaking of Tabitha and Murdenitz, just to shame DK a little bit, Tabitha, she submitted her article. So, so the only one that hasn't submitted an article now is
that's still me. You know
just
what?
teasing, it's all right.
It'll happen. It'll happen when the time is right. I won't know. It'll hit me. It'll come to me, and I will write for you. That's my process. I can't force it.
It's fair enough.
So, is there anything else that you guys need to mention before we do the thing?
Or forever hold your peace.
Right? Because I got to go get the car.
Yeah.
My
new
husband...
issue of Blocked will be out probably the end of October.
Awesome. Awesome.
I do still want to submit an article and a pattern at some point.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to have a chat with you as well. So, about this.
I'm in detention.
No, in a good way.
I'm in trouble. I have to go to the principal's office. Damn it.
Oh,
yeah, you need to come and see Evil Santa.
Hold on. I'm just going to block you really quick. So you.
All right. Anne, you're good. Anne's going to be heading back to her home state this weekend. Yay! So I think that we're going to put out the lost episode that I forgot to edit like 3 or 4 weeks ago instead of a new one, just because life.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. But
was that an interview or was it just you two?
No, it's just us, which means the news is going to be old and it's going to be dated, and that's okay.
But we referenced it several times since, so you know, maybe if you're interested in what we were talking about,
we'll find out. Episode. It'll be like, remember that time like 4 weeks ago? Yeah, that was a good time.
That was a good time. So, all right, I have to go get the car. So, guys, thanks for joining us. We will see you.
Thank you.
And
love you guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Check out Tina's fundraiser. Check out Blocked. Check out Anne because she's cool. I got a new design coming. A little collab with someone. A little secret something. So, peace. We'll talk to you.
Bye.
Bye.